Stoicism is the most practiced philosophy on the planet right now, and men who follow it are lonelier than ever. Not because the philosophy is wrong, because something critical got cut out of the translation, something that was never supposed to be removed. This video is about what got cut out and what it's costing the men who never found out. There's a specific point where Stoicism stops building a man and starts burying him. Most men crossed it without knowing. We'll get there. The promise. Stoicism arrived at exactly the right moment. Men were drowning in noise, emotional, distracted, reactive, with no internal anchor and no code. And Stoicism walked in with one clean offer: control. Every man who picked it up wasn't weak. He was looking for something real. And Stoicism worked. He stopped reacting, stopped complaining, stopped letting things visibly affect him. People called him solid, called him strong, called him the most controlled man in every room. He wasn't performing. He genuinely believed he was becoming stronger. Strength and suppression feel identical from the inside. That's the trap. He couldn't tell the difference. Nobody around him could either. One builds a man from the inside out. One hollows him. And he had no way of knowing which one he was doing. The burial. So here's what that philosophy actually built. He hollows every relationship he enters, not intentionally, but every time someone tries to reach him, they hit the wall. After enough walls, people stop knocking. He notices, tells himself they weren't serious people. He achieves things, real things. Stands in the moment he was supposed to feel something, feels nothing, not peace, not satisfaction, nothing. He calls that discipline. He doesn't know what he wants anymore. Wanting started feeling like weakness, so he removed it. Called it clarity. He doesn't lose himself all at once. One moment he chooses control over something that deserved to be felt. One moment he chooses distance over presence. And every single one of those moments feels like strength. That's what makes it impossible to see. It doesn't feel like self-destruction. It feels like building. And if you're still watching, some version of this is your life. Not was, is. Remember the point I mentioned at the start. It wasn't dramatic. No breakdown, no rock bottom. It was quiet. One afternoon he chose control over something that deserved to be felt, and it worked so well. He did it again, and again, until it was the only move he knew. The Misread. Here's what nobody corrected. Marcus Aurelius wasn't numb. He was emperor of Rome, watching his empire fracture, managing war, surrounded by betrayal. And he sat down and wrote about his fear, his doubt, his grief, in detail, with honesty. Seneca wrote letters so raw they read like confession. Epictetus survived slavery and built a school on the other side of it. These men felt everything. They just refused to let feeling become decision. The feeling was always there. The discipline was in what happened next. The modern version cut out the feeling entirely, kept the control, threw away the interior. The result isn't a Stoic. The result is a man who learned to disappear while still standing in the room, and the philosophy gave him a name for it. So it felt like wisdom, when what it actually was permission to stay buried. The cost at scale. This is where it compounds. It's not one relationship, it's a pattern. Every person who gets close eventually stops, not because he's difficult, because there is nothing to get close to. The wall is total, and walls don't get chosen. They get walked away from. His children grow up watching a man who is present and completely unreachable. His woman stops bringing him her real thoughts, not because she gave up, because every time she tried, what came back wasn't him. Composure. Just composure. He looks in the mirror and recognizes the face, but not the man. He's been postponing the real version of himself for years, telling himself there's still time, and he's starting to wonder if that man is still available. The real model. Real Stoicism never asked men to stop feeling. It asks them to stop being owned by what they feel. The difference is everything. A man who knows what he feels and chooses what he does with it, that man is unshakable. Not because nothing gets in, because everything gets in and nothing owns him. You cannot choose what you cannot see, and the buried man cannot see anything. The Stoics never practiced alone. Seneca wrote letters. Marcus ruled with counsel. Epictetus taught in a room full of men who challenged him. The philosophy was designed to be witnessed and tested in the presence of other men. Stoicism without a mirror fails, because the man practicing alone has no one to say. That's not discipline. That's fear with better branding. The code. Most men who watch this close the tab, go back to managing, tell themselves they understood it, and change nothing. Understanding something and doing something about it are two different acts. Most men choose the first because it costs less. The man we talked about tonight doesn't have an information problem. He has a mirror problem. Nobody in his life is close enough or honest enough to tell him the truth about what he's actually doing. That's what the family code is, not a community, a circle of men who are done practicing alone. The link is below. If this video found you, it didn't find you by accident. Step inside.